We are back on MorningLine. Our guest is Joshua White, Assistant Professor of Finance at Vanderbilt. Also, you worked with the Securities and Exchange Commission for a period of time. He's a smart guy, and he understands cryptocurrency and NFTs. We're explaining it. I know for a lot of you, like me, it's kind of new, but it is something that is big and growing. No question about it. We can take some phone calls, and before we get to one of our phone calls, we went to the break saying, all right, if I wanted to buy that shoe for $330, okay, the image, the NFT of the one that Steph Curry was wearing when he hit that record-setting three-pointer. It's a shoe like that one. What's to stop me from right-clicking and just taking it myself and putting that on my avatar instead of paying the money?
That's the question I'm always asked. Why am I paying for an NFT when I can right-click and not only download but duplicate almost costlessly?
There you go. Right.
So go back to the digital art example and think about art in the real world, actual art or tangible art. The Mona Lisa has a value, or some famous painting by Van Gogh or Monet. Only one person owns that original, but I can purchase a copy or a print, right? And I can hang it in my house, and there's some very authentic looking prints where artists come in and replicate it. There's still only one owner of the Mona Lisa, and so it's the same thing with the digital image. You can right click and copy Steph Curry's digital shoe, but I can look on the blockchain and I can verify whether or not you're actually the owner of that shoe.
Yeah, because there's a code number that goes with it, and you can find out there's a code number that equates with the original, meaning the original work made of that shoe, the one single one. It's a fingerprint or something like that on there.
Right, it's a digital fingerprint.
A digital fingerprint, and that confirms it. And even though it looks identical to that right click, meaning I think most experts in the world would be able, if they're real experts, maybe not me, tell the difference between a forgery and a real Mona Lisa. Just because of the oil and the way it's painted and all of that. But a digital one, you really can't, except for that digital code that says, yes, this one on the left is the real deal.
Right, and so right now, that ownership or that ability to verify, it probably holds some value in the social media realm.
Okay.
So if I claim that I own a very famous NFT, it's verifiable. As we move forward, there's something coming called Web 3. Web 3 is going to replace the web we have now, Web 2, where information is shared amongst servers. It's also going to be decentralized, and so it's going to be very easy to verify ownership because all of that will be talking on a platform that's interacting with itself. And so if I am trying to monetize some content, I own a famous piece of art, digital art, and I'm wanting to earn royalties every time it's shared online, this ability to verify it on the blockchain through an NFT will allow that original owner to maintain, their ownership and earn the royalties.
Interesting. All right, let's take a phone call here from, I believe, Renee. Good morning, Renee. Are you there?
Yes, I am. Good morning, Nick, and good morning, Doctor. I was sitting here thinking that's really a cool idea that I can create an avatar and then maybe monetize it, make it at an NFT. And I was wondering how that would be done.
That's a great question. So,
hold on a second, too. I'll let you answer. Renee, how do you know about this stuff? You sound like you're familiar a little bit with the idea of this, and for a lot of people, it's kind of foreign. How did you know about this?
Well, I sort of go on to various platforms, social platforms, and there are some experts out there. One particular guy who's really, really good, and it's really helped me a lot. Also, I saw a video segment of Ashton Kutcher. He was talking about it with some reporter and how he has created, his wife, I think he helped her create some kind of storyboard or something, and they sold it for millions of dollars.
Yeah.
So that kind of became familiar with it.
There you go. Hey, listen, I really appreciate it. Good for you, Renee. I mean, and I'll let you answer a question now. I mean, creating that, how do you go about doing that?
It's a great question. So there's these marketplaces, and probably the best known is something called OpenSea.
OpenSea.
So if you were going to take a piece of digital art and you wanted to do what we call mint, M-I-N-T, a non-fungible token,
okay,
you would need to first create a digital wallet and access OpenSea and register with OpenSea. There's a process.
Does it cost anything?
Yeah, there's a cost to it. There's a fixed cost.
You would have to get some of your bank money out of your bank and go to exchange and get some cryptocurrency or whatever it is to then pay that.
Correct.
You have to pay everything with cryptocurrency.
Right, and OpenSea operates on a cryptocurrency known as Ether, which is Ethereum.
Yeah. And that's easy enough to get that exchange.
Very easy to get it exchanged. So you need to first transfer US dollars to Ethereum.
Gotcha.
Have a digital wallet. Open an account with OpenSea, and now it comes time to mint this NFT. And an NFT can be minted once it's recorded on the blockchain. It's considered minted. So I have this image, I upload it, I pay another fee to miners who go and verify its ownership and record it on the blockchain. Now she has ownership of that non-fungible token, and she can list it for sale.
She could. To make it as simple as possible, if I wanted to do what she said, I could take a picture of myself, a digital picture of myself, and then maybe draw a mustache on there and with art and draw my and put some makeup on my face or whatever, and then just make some image and do what you just said and put it out there. And then if someone said, well, Nick Barris at News Channel 5 has an NFT out there, and I think I'm going to buy it. I want to buy it.
Correct. So then you would sell it.
Now, is it possible, can you go ahead and sell copies of it? Or you only deal with your original?
So you can issue more than one NFT for that image.
Oh, okay. So would they all be considered then originals from me?
Each would be unique and originals.
Like 1, 2, 3. Because you see sometimes artists will come out with 2, 3, 4, 5 prints and things like that.
Correct. So I can mint 100 NFTs that represent that image.
Have you done that?
I have not.
I mean, that sounds like is that a good way to start? I mean, I think it's wonderful Renee's thinking about that. I still wouldn't know how to go through all that, the process, but I mean, is that a way to start learning about this, or how would you do it first?
I think learning about it, I would first go on a platform like OpenSea and just look at the images that are out there. Look at very popular non-fungible tokens, something like Cryptopunks, which are very popular. There was an image up a second ago.
Yeah, we can put that up again if you'd like. The Cryptopunks. You were telling me you actually have a few Cryptopunks yourself?
Partial ownership.
Partial ownership. Now, Cryptopunks are what again? So
there's a company called Larva Labs that put out 10,000 of these avatars, and each of them is a punk. It's a digital image of something that looks like a punk, but they all have unique attributes. So one might have a mohawk, another might be wearing sunglasses, and each of those represent an NFT. So there's 10,000 NFTs for these CryptoPunks. And if you own one right now, they sell for the amount of Ethereum once it's transferred to US dollars, often north of 200,000 each.
Okay, I'm trying to figure out where that value comes from. It's just stunning to me. I guess if it's Picasso, okay. But I mean, I don't know who's created. Now these are, we're just scrolling through some on a website. What are some of these? Are these punks at all?
Yeah, the ones on the left are CryptoPunks.
Okay.
The one on the right was Meebits.
And some of those, I mean, they're clever, they look nice, but why are they created by famous artists? I mean, what on earth makes them worth, in some cases, up to $250,000?
It has to be supply and demand. So somebody has to view this as unique art. And art that they want to own because it represents
like anything else.
Ownership.
So are these supposed to be like done by, I'm not saying I could ever draw some of these myself, but I mean established, well-known artists, famous people. There has to be some connection that makes you say, I want that. I mean, most of those look pretty basic to me. Again, like I said, I'm not saying I could do them, but I could never in a million years looking at that, and it's just me, pay $250,000 for that, but I would if I knew it could be an investment and it's something that's highly sought after by maybe a very respected and established artist, perhaps.
Right, and there are digital artists that have beautiful images.
Reputations for that, and I'm sure some of the images are gorgeous, right?
I think the value coming from the CryptoPunks is that you're joining a community of other people that own this asset, share maybe similar passions with you. Oftentimes there's another one called Bored Ape Yacht Club that's really popular, and ownership gives you access to events both online and in real life.
What would be an online event like?
Often like a Discord chat. So you'll go on and chat with other people that also are interested in the Bored Apes.
In the Bored Apes are images?
They're images of apes.
Oh.
That, much like CryptoPunks, they're slightly different each, and there's a limited supply.
Okay. Now, we've shown some examples of artwork. It's more difficult for us, but other realms. So you said music, especially here in Music City. I would think that could really play a role, perhaps. But how would music be sold?
Yeah, so you can imagine musicians own their music. They might have copyrights to their music, but fans also have a shared passion. So think back to the example of the Bored Ape Yacht Club, where we might have a shared passion. A lot of fans of musicians or their music have a passion in that artist and that artist's music, and so you could monetize that ownership by issuing a number of NFTs that represent fractional ownership in the music.
Okay, for an example, it could be, Garth Brooks could choose one of his songs and put that on put that out as an NFT. The song as a whole, and say you could invest in a portion of the song, and you could say you own a bit of that? Right,
and there's ways to write these contracts such that the copyright still belongs to the recording studio. So I can imagine Garth Brooks' record label would, not want him selling an asset or intellectual property that they have a vested interest in.
Okay.
But what you could do is sell that NFT such that you have ownership per se, but the actual copyright still belongs to Garth.
Okay, and that's talking about one that's already, but let's say you're an artist, a well-known artist, who knows, Taylor Swift with her next album that comes out, maybe she hasn't even written that song yet, but when she does have a new song, and it's new, so no copyright yet unless she's writing it and connected with the company, she could decide how she wants to market that. And if there isn't a copyright with a label, then she could control that completely as an NFT, maybe, not worry about copyright.
That's right, and in that case you would have cut out the record studio. And so anytime you sort of avoid this middle person, then it might allow the artist to monetize that content at
Has that started happening yet with some of these musicians? Have they discovered that yet?
We've seen it in limited spaces with musicians. We typically see it when a new album is released. I think Kings of Leon issued an NFT, but it was more like swag, if you will, or memorabilia.
Yeah, something like that.
And so I've got 100 NFTs that I'm going to issue with this album. It's very desirable, but I still maintain control of the actual content.
And the whole idea with that NFT, once you get that from Kings of Leon, is that you'd be able then to go online with some of your friends and say, look what I've got here. I've got one of the 100 swag hats or whatever it was that came out with this new Kings of Leon album.
Right, and it might give you access to digital content. Maybe there's special content, unedited versions of the song. It could also give you access to things in real life, maybe special meetings, concert access to certain seating. So you can imagine how musicians or artists could use that to better monetize, across all of their intellectual property.
Interesting. I bet it could apply also in athletics.
Athletics, we see it with politicians. There's politicians raising money with it.
Let's talk about that. We're going to take a break. We've got more. We've got a few more phone calls, and we're going till 9 o'clock because we're talking not only just about cryptocurrency and Bitcoin. That's kind of what you need to pay for this type of thing. Ether is another one you said, right?
Correct.
But if you want an NFT, I want to go ahead and make an NFT of myself, and I'm going to figure it out.
I think you should. So Mark Cuban has done this. Jack Dorsey sold his first tweet
so
as an
that's
NFT.
Pretty cool. All right, we'll take a break, talk more about it. I appreciate Renee having asked that question. I need an avatar on an NFT. We'll be back with more and your calls. If you're on hold, stay there right after this.